Hey, welcome to the Explainer. So, have you ever stopped to think about what actually keeps our planet alive? It's not just one thing, It's this incredibly delicate, interconnected web of systems. Today, we're going to explore this amazing life support system, from the tiniest cell to the entire globe, to really understand the fragile balance that keeps us all going.
It is a huge question, right? And the answer isn't simple. It's all found in a whole series of interconnected systems. So let's dive in and explore the fundamental principles that don't just make life on Earth possible, but also make it incredibly resilient.
To really get a handle on the big picture, we need to see how life is organized. It's not just some random jumble of creatures out there, it's a beautifully structured system. You could almost think of it like a pyramid of life.
Right at the very top of that pyramid, you have the biosphere. The best way to picture it is as our planet's thin, living skin. It's literally the grand total of every single ecosystem, from the crushing depths of the oceans to the highest, most windswept mountains where life just somehow manages to cling on.
And what's so cool about this is how elegantly it all scales up. You start with just one organism. A group of those creates a population. Then, when different populations start interacting, you get a community. Add in the non-living environment, the rocks, the water, the weather, and you've got an ecosystem. And all of Earth's ecosystems put together? Well, that's the biosphere we were just talking about. See how it all connects?
All these different levels are in this constant dance, this push and pull, all trying to achieve what scientists call environmental equilibrium. It's this incredibly delicate balance between all living things and their physical environment. And this stability, this is the secret sauce for a healthy planet. And it's all powered by the constant flow of two absolutely critical things: energy and nutrients.
Okay, so let's look at the invisible engine that's driving this whole show. How exactly does the fuel for life move through the entire system? How does it power everything from a single blade of grass all the way up to a massive blue whale?
Well, it all begins with the sun. Plants soak up all that solar energy, and from there, it's pretty much a one-way trip up the food chain as one organism eats another. Each step in that chain, from the plant to the rabbit that eats it to the fox that eats the rabbit, is called a trophic level. And here's one of the most fundamental and kind of mind-blowing rules of ecology. As energy moves up from one trophic level to the next, only about 10% of it actually gets transferred and stored. Just 10%. So the big takeaway here is this. Because of that massive energy loss at each step, energy is a one-way street. It flows up the pyramid and gets used up along the way. But what about the physical stuff, the building blocks of life, the nutrients? Well, that's a totally different story. They can't be lost. They have to be recycled.
And that's where these amazing, and yeah, I know it's a mouthful, biogeochemical cycles come in. Think of the carbon cycle, the nitrogen cycle. They are basically the planet's huge natural recycling programs. They make sure that all the essential elements for life are constantly moving through the air, water, and land, so they can be used over and over and over again.
This whole system of energy flow and nutrient recycling creates a beautiful, self-sustaining balance. But what happens when that balance gets thrown way off? What happens when we introduce a villain into the story? Pollution. Pollutants are basically anything that throws the environment out of whack. And they come from all over the place, from agriculture, from industry, even from our own homes. And they have the power to seriously disrupt those delicate cycles we talked about, which can trigger this whole cascade of devastating consequences.
Let's just take greenhouse gases, for example. Normally, our atmosphere lets some of the sun's heat escape back into space, which is great. But when we pump way too much CO2 into the air, it acts like a thick blanket, trapping that heat and causing the planet's temperature to climb. This is the engine that drives global warming.
Then you've got other pollutants like CFCs, which literally attack the ozone layer. That's our planet's essential sunscreen. As that layer gets thinner, more of the harmful UV radiation from the sun slips through, putting us at a much higher risk for serious health problems like cataracts and even weakened immune systems.
And hey, remember that energy pyramid we were just talking about? Well, pollutants can climb it too. When toxins like mercury get into an ecosystem, they don't just disappear the way energy does. Nope. Instead, they build up, becoming more and more concentrated in the bodies of the animals at the very top of the food chain. This really dangerous process is called biomagnification.
So the bottom line is that all these problems are interconnected, from acid rain that destroys forests to the devastating loss of habitats and a really frightening decline in the variety of life on Earth. It all comes back to us disrupting that natural balance.
But listen,
this is not where the story has to end. Understanding the problem is always the first step towards solving it. And the good news is, there are powerful, smart strategies we can use to manage our environment and start to restore that critical balance.
The guiding principle for this new path forward is called sustainable development, and it's a simple but incredibly powerful idea. We meet our own needs today, but we do it in a way that doesn't prevent future generations from being able to meet theirs. It's about thinking ahead.
And this slide shows a fantastic practical framework that anyone, and I mean anyone, can use, the 4 Rs. It's not just about recycling. That's actually the last step. It starts with reusing what we already have, reducing our overall consumption, and replacing harmful products with eco-friendly alternatives whenever we can.
On a bigger scale, this means we need to completely rethink our major systems. We need to shift to sustainable agriculture that works with nature, not against it, and totally overhaul our energy management to prioritize efficiency and clean, renewable sources of power.
And all of this brings us to the final and maybe the most important piece of the puzzle. Because understanding the biosphere, the threats of pollution, and all the potential solutions, well, it isn't just some abstract science exercise. It's about recognizing our own personal place in this story.
This quote just gets right to the heart of it all, doesn't it? It speaks to a shared responsibility that falls on all of our shoulders. Using our resources wisely isn't just a job for governments or big corporations. It's a choice each and every one of us makes every single day.
And so, we leave you with a question. We've seen just how interconnected and how fragile this living system really is. So knowing that, what is your role in protecting it? What is my role? It's a question we all really need to think about, because the future of our living planet truly depends on how we answer it.